The following video contains heavy spoilers for Death Note, Another Note, the Los Angeles BB murder case. So this is the second part to a two-part video. If y'all want to check out the first part, it'll be right here. This video doesn't contain any spoilers or anything like that. This one, however, will. But first, I just want to let you all know that this video is sponsored by MadHoney.net. MadHoney.net sells a very special honey that comes from Nepal. It has psychoactive effects, and in my opinion is much better than CBD. And I do love CBD, but I would prefer this over CBD. I really would. The process of getting this honey is also pretty dangerous, so seriously, mad respect to the people who work at madhoney.net. There are a lot of companies out there who sell mad honey, and I guess maybe it's a little bit of mad honey, but these companies are absolute and utter scams, and they are giving mad honey a really bad name. So madhoney.net is one of the few that you actually can trust, and that is one reason why I always enjoy working with them. I love their products. The people over there are really kind. But regardless, before I start ranting on about them for the next 20 minutes, let's go ahead and get right into the video. So Death Note, Another Note, and I know in the last video I said a new note, but regardless, Death Note, Another Note is a Death Note light novel. And as I mentioned, this is my absolute favorite, not just my favorite Death Note story, but also my favorite mystery novel of all time. And Death Note, Another Note follows the events of Naomi Misuda as she is working alongside L. This is right before the Kira investigation and all that happens. So Naomi Misuda ends up coming home, and whenever she wakes up the next day, she finds that her laptop is turned on. Well, she doesn't remember turning on the laptop, but actually come to find out, L actually hacked her laptop so that he could give her some information because he wants her to work with him on this case. Now, Naomi Misuda was an FBI agent, but she's no longer an FBI agent. So right now she's pretty much free to do this if she wants to. And of course she decides to do it, so later on through the story, she starts getting a little bit more information, And as the story progresses, we get to the first crime scene. Now, the only way that Naomi Misuda is in contact with L is just through phone calls, okay? So check this out. So she's talking to L on the phone, and she's trying to figure out what is going on here. Well, first of all, L actually already knows who the killer is. It is a character named B, also known as Beyond Birthday. Beyond Birthday was another one of the kids who was raised at Watati's The Wammy house. However, this dude ends up going completely unhinged. Well, this character was apparently born with the eyes of a Shinigami. Yeah, you heard that right. He was apparently born with the eyes of a Shinigami. So he's able to see people's deaths before it happens, and those are his victims. But regardless, she's still at the first crime scene, right? And she's just looking around and whatnot, and then she sees a hand come out from under a bed. And lo and behold, guess who comes out from under the freaking bed? This guy. So Naomi is completely suspicious of them. So she starts talking to them, he's talking back to her, they're having this dialogue and everything, and he lets her know, my name is Ryuzaki, and I'm also a part of this case too. I'm trying to figure everything out alongside you. However, one of her issues is that he was under the bed, so she's trying to figure out, did this guy, hear my conversation with L? But apparently he was just investigating everything in his own unique way. So as the story continues, she eventually ends up getting back on the phone with him. I think this is the part where she goes into the bathroom, because she separates herself from Ryuzaki. And she goes into the bathroom and she calls L. And she's like, hey, do you know who this person is? Is there someone else working on this case or something? And he's like, yeah, no, don't worry about it. I know who they are. They're working on the case. They're fine. They're good. And then whenever she ends up leaving the bathroom, lo and behold, there's Ryuzaki just standing outside the bathroom asking her why she didn't flush the toilet and stuff like that. But of course, just like with all the other conversations and whatnot, it's a lot more psychological than that. I'm just simplifying it a lot. Mainly because that part's kind of funny. But just like I said in the first part of this video, go check out this audiobook right here. This guy has the best Death Note, A New Note audiobook on the entire internet, hands down. And you know what? While I'm at it, I'll also promote my own. You want to know who the only person on the entire internet who has covered the Wammy House / L One Day, that one-shot manga? You want to know who the only person who ever covered that? Me. Now go check the video out. All the pages are in 4K. You're welcome. I am eventually going to have to redo that video whenever I have the time. It's way too much to get into in this video, but look, I'm just going through a lot right now, and my content is also being affected by that. Look, I'm doing my absolute best, and I'm trying to get in a position where I can get back to making the usual content that I make along with all these videos and whatnot. It's just a lot going on. I'll talk more about it in other videos and stuff like that. But regardless, they continue on with this investigation, and every single time that they come across one of these crime scenes, they have these little dolls that are found at the crime scenes. What are those dolls called? I can't remember exactly what the dolls are called, but here, I'll have the information up on screen right here. But every single time that they get to the next crime scene, there's one less doll. So they eventually come to the conclusion that, oh, okay, so these dolls represent the victims, and every single time that we get to the next crime scene, there will be one less doll. So then it becomes, what does all this mean? Why is this person doing all of this, and why a certain number of victims, and why is it that every single time that we come across one of these crime scenes, it's just very weird? Like, there was this one guy who had his arm and leg cut off, and the leg was found in the bathroom, the arm was taken, and his body was put in a very weird position. So obviously the person doing this is completely and utterly deranged. They are a twisted psycho. So as they continue on and they're trying to figure everything out and figure out what all this means and how are we going to catch this person, it just becomes this whole thing, and it's like, man, what is going on? Why is this happening? Who would do something like this, and why? So now it just becomes this thing where as each new chapter passes, it is a new crime scene and everything. You have these great interactions between Ryuzaki and Naomi Misura, and it's just great, man. It's really, really good. Just go check it out. This video will not do it justice. Justice. Which, actually, fun fact about that line, we first hear it from Light, right? Whenever he says, I am the god of the new world, I am justice. But actually, fun fact, L was the first character in the story to actually say that line. Again, go check out my audiobook for the Wammy House / L one day. But the way that ended up coming about was that whenever Watiti first brings L to the Wammy's house, he goes up in there, and then Watiti walks away, or whatever, and then all the other kids start to, like, walk towards, like, rush to L or whatever, and he ends up, like, kicking all their... And then Watiti comes back, and he's like, what happened here? And then L says, well, they said, hey, look, a new face. Let's cuddle them. They tried to employ violence against me. They're the ones who started it. I am justice. So again, if y'all want to check out the full version of that one-shot manga, go check out my audiobook for it. But let's go ahead and get back to Death Note, Another Note, the Los Angeles BB murder case. But first, I just want to remind y'all again that this video is sponsored by madhoney.net. Yo, is there still some honey up in this? Oh man, I thought there was still some honey up in there. I mean, there is a little bit, but not enough to actually squeeze out or anything. This stuff tastes so good. You can either just eat it raw, put it inside some coffee, some tea, put it on food or something. Man, I even one time ate waffles with this stuff. It was delicious. But regardless, let's go ahead and get on with the rest of the video. Oh, and also another thing that I forgot to mention is that the book is actually narrated by Mello, so that's a pretty cool thing about it too. So Ryuzaki and Naomi are at all the crime scenes, they're having all these conversations, they're trying to figure everything out, just all that, right? Oh, and another thing that I forgot to mention is that all of the victims, their initials are BB. And L, obviously already knowing who the criminal in this situation is, being Beyond Birthday, he's already been able to piece together that it is like, okay, so this is probably because they're based on your initials. Now, getting closer towards the end of the light novel, they are going to the final victim's place. However, nothing has happened to them yet. So, what they end up doing is Ryuzaki goes into the room of the first person that they think is going to be the next victim, and then Naomi goes into the other room of the other person that they think might be the next victim. So Naomi is up in the room and she's waiting for something to happen. and then she just starts thinking to herself, and it just keeps going like that. And then I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to the end of it because I kind of forgot a few details about the ending, but this eventually just leads her to realizing, like, wait a second, I need to go to Ryuzaki now. And whenever she does, guess what? Ryuzaki is up in the room. He's doused himself in gasoline, and he lights himself on fire. Now you may be wondering to yourself, how does that make any sense? We see Ryuzaki in Death Note, he's perfectly fine. Oh, I'm sorry. You thought that was L? That was Beyond Birthday. And his final victim was himself. His plan was to make himself the last victim and make his body completely and utterly unrecognizable, creating a case that even L couldn't solve. Well, obviously he ends up failing really bad, and it's all thanks to Naomi Misuda. And so, all burnt up and everything, he's rushed to the hospital, and then he's in prison for the rest of his life, and then eventually dies of a heart attack while he's in prison. Now, some people speculate that he actually died because Kira was the one who wrote his name in the Death Note. First of all, I don't even know if that would be possible, for a lot of reasons. I don't think that Light would have any knowledge of what Beyond Birthday even looks like, or how he would even get his name. So I have my own Death Note theories, so if y'all want to check those out, then go check those out on the channel. It's just like a little mini-series that I'm doing, so it's best to watch all the videos in order, but I guess you technically don't have to. But regardless, I do hope that you all enjoyed this video, and that because of this video that y'all are now going to go check out the Death Note audiobook. Go check that out. Super underrated video. Only has a few thousand views. Deserves at least 10 trillion views. Let's get this video in the, you know, not even the trillions, the sextillions of views. But all jokes aside, I do hope that you all enjoyed the video. If you did, leave it a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. And once again, shout out to madhoney.net for sponsoring this video. But regardless, as always, I'm your host Leon, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.